today we're going to be talking about the wonderful world of tile. And if you've been out recently looking at tile or trying to select something, I'm sure that you have found that there are so many choices out there. And so we're going to just be talking about some of the different materials that you can find for tile, the history of tile, different tile patterns as well. So the history of tiles. It's believed that pottery originated in China around 20,000 BC. They started creating ceramic pottery and tiles using white porcelain and then painted them. And they developed this process with these stunning images on the tiles. And this style was then popularized by the Persian traders bringing back what they were finding, and then others tried to replicate it. And then it spread into Egypt, where they were maybe the first to develop a method of kiln firing the pottery. And their tiles were also spread, and then that brought it to the Grecians, who took it to new levels with elaborate mosaics that were used in homes and temples and throughout the Mediterranean. The picture there you see on the right, I took when I was in Israel, and this was actually a mosaic tile floor that was at Herodium. So this was for Herod the Great, and he was known for this rosette detail that he would repeat throughout the different palaces that he had. And these are just some others. When I go overseas, like you take pictures of all the pretty buildings and other pictures of the ocean, and I take pictures of the tile on the ground.
That's how you know you're in the right profession, right?
Yeah. I'm like, this is so cool. Just making
they
sure that
are really cool. That one on the right is something you would see in a home today, but obviously patinaed and gorgeous. That's awesome.
Yeah. And that was outside of a church. Just on the, the entrance there into the church. And then in the middle, we'll be talking about some different ceramics, but if you've ever seen the Dome of the Rock on the Temple Mount, maybe you didn't realize that up close, the outside facade is actually covered with beautiful ceramic tile, all different colors and patterns, and it's just incredible. And then you see the peacocks there made out of the mosaic, just gorgeous. Porcelain tile. It can look like natural stone, brick, or wood, and it can be used in high traffic areas and even outdoors. It's generally higher priced than a ceramic tile, but the nice thing is you don't have maintenance issues with it where you would have that with a natural stone. So a lot of times people are, they start to pick a porcelain tile for a shower just because of the maintenance factor.
Hey, I'm here at Summerlin's showroom with Christine, and we're gonna look at some of their porcelain tiles that they have. And they have a huge selection of different porcelain looks of marble, travertine, wood looks. Can you just show us some of the different examples of what you have here?
Yeah, so I guess we could start over here. Over here we have a lot of our kind of quartz and slate looks. Have a whole bunch of different colors, and a lot of these tiles come in all different sizes, which is great. A lot of them come in larger format, like 24 by 24 and 24 by 48 as well. We also even have some like really cool linen looks, so those have been kind of coming out and been a little bit more popular, which is kind of cool. And a lot of these guys have matching mosaics too, which is really nice.
Yeah, there you've got like a hexagon, if I have my shapes right. Is that hexagon?
Yes. Yeah, all of them just have these 2x2s, which is kind of just your basic mosaic that a lot of people go with, but a lot of them have different cool mosaics that people like. One being the herringbone, and the hexagons are really popular as well.
And that's great for if you're trying to do a shower and you want to coordinate the shower pan tile with a wall tile. If you have that coordinating mosaic, then you can do that all inclusive, like look.
So yeah. And then over here we got a bunch of our wood looks, which have been getting pretty popular. A a lot of people just like them because they're a lot more durable than the natural hardwoods or the LVT, which is kind of nice. And a lot of them have different larger sizes as well. And we even have these cool kind of matching little basket weave.
That's really cool.
24 by 24s and some other decos over here as well that are really fun.
You could do that like an inlay. That would be really pretty.
Yeah, I've seen them in a really large living room and it looks so cool. And then we got a lot of different stone looks over here. We got kind of like all of our marble looks at the bottom, and they got a bunch of different colors, which is great. A lot of these guys have those larger format options as well, and a whole bunch of different matching mosaics too.
And then some of these I'm noticing as well, you have a different finish that they're offered in, either the gloss or more of a matte finish, but in the same color.
Yeah, so most of them are always going to be honed or have that kind of texture to them, but there are quite a few of them that do have a polished and a honed version, and in most of them the polished is also available in that large format, which people kind of like if they want to do that really seamless, less grout look in the shower, which is really cool.
Okay. And then over here we kind of have more of a concrete look as well, so if you're not wanting as much pattern and more of a monochromatic look, you could definitely pick something like this.
Oh yeah.
Really wide variety.
A lot of these are really great, and a lot of these concrete looks have really nice texture to them, especially some of these guys up here. They have a lot of grip to them, which some people like to help prevent slipping a little bit more, especially in areas like the basement where you might get a little bit of water down there.
And my eye caught those black and white tiles up there. Those are so cool. Wow, I have not seen anything like that.
Yeah, those guys are really neat. Those guys are by Floorgrass, and those are actually produced in Italy. And they do have larger sizes available. However, we only stock the 12 by 24 at our warehouse, but other sizes are available. They'll just come from overseas.
Okay.
Those are beautiful.
We always find new things when we come to our showroom, so this is great.
And then we also got some really cool decos up here as well, and those are available in a couple of different colorways, and we actually also have them in 12 by 12s available right here as well. We got some other fun shapes in porcelain that you can do too, like this large porcelain hex by Artistic Tile. Those are really cool. And then we got a couple other looks down here as well. You can kind of get into these more like rustic patterns, which are really pretty, and they got some matching decos you can do with them. A lot of people like to mix those in for a really cool Mediterranean look.
Yeah, that could be cool in a laundry room or maybe like a front sun porch or something. I could see something like that in there.
Yeah, actually just had someone pick one of these out for their enclosed sunroom. Really cool.
To show you guys this amazing tile. You look at this and you think that this is a slab of marble, but this is actually porcelain tile in a large format. This would be amazing to do inside of a shower if you wanted a more like just cleaning up, not having as many grout lines. You'd only have them in the corners and along the bottom. That would be super easy to keep clean and maintenance as well. And this is plain by
Stone Peak.
And the thickness on this is only,
These ones are 6 millimeters.
okay, 6 millimeters. But what she was explaining is that this has to be installed by one of the plain certified installers for, not just anyone can install this large format tile.
And we do have a couple in the KC area.
Yeah, but I just thought this was an impressive tile. You think about small tiles, but these are huge. I think the largest you said was 120 by 120 inches.
Yeah, I think there might be a couple sizes available in that, but all of the colors are available in 60 by 120 for sure, so
It's amazing. All right, and then they have this awesome library of all the tile that's here. So if you're here and you're looking at something and you want to take it home and see what it looks like in your space, they probably have it back in this library, and they can, for a small deposit, let you take that home and check it out for a few days and then bring it back.
We had a question about what is a good option for a non-slip tile in a shower?
So if you can get a mosaic tile, the smaller the mosaic is, the grout actually helps you to have that non-slip ability. But getting something in a honed finish versus a gloss finish is always good. If you're looking for a like a porcelain tile, it will have a slip resistant factor, so you can take a look at that. So usually if you can actually feel a texture on the tile, that would even be even better. But if you can find something in honed, so if it's a natural stone and you're using that on your shower floor, look for a honed finish instead of the gloss.
We didn't go into, I don't think, pebble tile on here, but I've seen you used those before too, haven't you?
Yes. So sometimes people like that, they do like how they feel underfoot. And those are usually not a polished.
Okay. Thank you.
So we took a little field trip, taking some looks at some porcelain tiles. And here are some examples of different ways that we have used those in our projects. And so on the left, you see a porcelain tile backsplash, and this is a 2x6 size, and it has a concave pattern, so it's not completely flat. It has the little raised edges on it, and that was a really fun tile to use. It's one of my favorites. And then in the middle, you can see that this is a wood plank floor, and these tiles were massive. They were 8 inches by 45 inches. And so the way that we installed them as well is kind of a random lay, like a wood floor, to give you that look. And then on the far right, this is a Carrara tile, but it's porcelain. So it looks like a Carrara, but you don't have to have the maintenance and upkeep of that.
It's beautiful. You would never guess. I instantly think marble.
Yeah, they're really beautiful. And a lot of the manufacturers, they'll take pictures of real stone, and then that's what they use on their tile. So it's really amazing.
I had no idea.
Ceramics. So they are great for any room. They're budget friendly, easy to install, and they come in a lot of different shapes and colors. But you need to be careful. Some of them are only for use on walls and not on floors. So when you're looking at a tile, be sure that you also look at the specs and make sure if you're wanting to use it on the floor that it can be. If you try to use a wall tile on the floor, it could break. So.
Hi everyone, I'm Nina and I'm here with Amy, and we are at International Materials, and we're going to be looking at some beautiful mosaics. And so Amy's going to walk us around and show us some of the different things that they have to offer here in their showroom. Tell us a little bit about what we're looking at here, maybe some differences in the mosaics, just how they're made, and maybe some different ways that they're manufactured.
I would be happy to. So tiles come very far with mosaics. There was a time where all you could get was maybe a 1x1 or a little hex. These we're very proud of. These are a lot of our water jet cut mosaics, which they're cut with a laser on site, and they're able to incorporate different stones, even metals, sometimes glass. They are a higher price point. However, they're beautiful and they make a big statement. There is another type of mosaic though that seems to be a little bit less expensive and has gained a lot of popularity, and that's the tesserae. A lot of people have seen this ombre look. It's been all over Instagram. They've even come out with ones that have different patterns, colors. This one's made to look like a Greek key. This one does a hex. These are tiny little pieces, and they come from antiquity. If you go over to Europe, you had mentioned Israel, will see these everywhere. They go back very, very far. It's a very timeless look. It's also not as formal as a water jet cut mosaic.
Yes.
In my opinion, I think these are a little more opulent. These are still pretty too, but we sell both of them. Most of our clients that come in, they're not looking for just a basic one color mosaic. They want the options of the multiple colors.
Unique.
They're using these on floors, walls and kitchens, bathrooms. Pretty versatile. And
I love this one here. This is just gorgeous with how this transitions from the dark to the light on both of those. Those are so pretty.
they are very.
And this is also another example of that water jet, correct?
It is,
So
where they've taken a
inlaid
laser
that.
and they've inlaid the brass, which again, people always ask, why are they so expensive? It's because they've got to actually have these machines set up in-house that they've invested a lot in this, and the precision has to be there. Whereas if you get a knockoff, something that's very cheaply made, you won't see those sharp edges.
Yeah,
You will
it's very
see
tight.
it's very tight and precise, and that's what people want, especially when they're spending this kind of money. They don't want to get sheets that don't interlock correctly. They want it to look seamless, which is why if you're going to buy this kind of mosaic, it's probably better to go with a quality one and spend a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because that way your installer isn't going to be hit with a bunch of challenges on the job site where things don't interlock appropriately.
I noticed that on some pictures where you see a mosaic tile floor and how they're interconnected, and sometimes you'll see that gap in the grout, and you know that was pieces that fit together and they weren't quite lined up properly.
So that's good research to actually look into when buying mosaics, is to see where they're manufactured. I know the Italians seem to do the best job at it. Again, a lot of these companies now are bringing them in-house in the US, and they're able to make them on site and have them all match up. That's always a good option, but you're right. And dye lots, you want to make sure it's all from the same dye lot. You could end up with just 3 sheets from a different dye lot, and it can really mess up the entire installation.
I know that.
So we pride ourselves in being able to offer that sort of thing with all of our tiles.
That's great. And I'll just point out this, Amy. In one of Ron's projects, we used this tile around the fireplace in their space, and it was absolutely gorgeous. Tell me a little bit about the world of ceramics and just the differences between what we're looking at here. There's some beautiful tiles, obviously handmade, and then others that are machine made. Can you just explain the difference between
I'd be
them?
happy to. So machine made tiles are usually basic tiles like this, like a typical white subway tile. These are mass produced, they're easy to get, they're at a very low price point. The only issue is they typically only come in a couple of sizes and a few colorways. And if you get a client that has very specific needs, that's where the world of the handmaids come in. For example, Sonoma Tile Makers is a really big line in the ceramic world. We're able to offer all of these shapes in all of these colors.
Wow.
That is not something that you will ever find in the machine maids, because nobody would ever anticipate on what to stock.
Yeah.
This gives the client the ability to customize their
So
own
custom.
space, whether it be a bathroom or a kitchen, meaning I can get this shade of green and this shape, and people love that idea. And really another thing, because we happen to be over here, is the world of more art tile. That's something that's very hard to find and has gotten a lot of popularity because of Instagram and social media. People now want these wow spaces that are picture worthy. Not everybody that walks in necessarily wants a beige subway tile. They want it to look like the picture that they saw in the magazine or on Instagram. And that's where glazes like this come into play. You will never find a glaze like this in the world of machine-made tiles, because it's really an art.
Like the ombre, the crackle behind it.
Right, and the thing that's fun about, like, this is raku. They literally throw it like in a fire and it pops and it makes the glaze, and not everybody knows how to do that. These are trade secrets, just like it would be with like recipes. I mean, these take a long time to learn these trades, which again is why they're at a higher price point. There's literally people making this tile, not a machine.
Yeah.
And that's what you're paying for, is this variation, these textures, these glazes. They're so rich, and you know, that's what our clients are looking for. They're not always looking for this.
Yes.
And we can get them this, but most of them come in going, oh, no. I'm in here because I want this stuff.
Yeah. And that has its place. A lot of times, maybe you'll save if you're doing a basement bathroom or your kid's bathroom, and then you're going to splurge and do this in your master bathroom or the kitchen area.
Where people see it, because we've even been able to cut costs with stuff like this for showers. But then maybe there's a vanity wall that you want to dress up, or maybe just an inset in your shower. You might want things like this. The other advantage to working with the ceramics is they don't have to be sealed. We can really pinpoint colors, whereas in natural stone, there's a lot of variation and they do have to be sealed. The ceramics do not. They're very easy to take care of, and they're a little more on the traditional side of things. Not everybody wants the opulence of the water jet mosaics. Some people just really want a simple blue tile in their shower, and this is a great option for those people.
Yeah, these are very classic designs, classic colors. I mean, just the array of different whites, tones there, that's amazing, because that's always the hardest thing, is either we're trying to match up to an existing trim paint color and the tile we're looking at is too white or it's too yellow. And so having that option to find that in between is
And we really do sell all of these whites. It's amazing when people walk in and say, well, no, I just want a white. I'm like, no, there is not just a white.
How many shades?
Yes.
Yeah, this is beautiful.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you so much for having us in today.
Absolutely.
And
All right, so we saw a lot of different ceramic tile options. These are some examples of ones that we've installed on some of our projects. And on the left, you'll see one, it's a three-dimensional tile. So it has that texture, and the light captures all of that ripple as you go through it. And it just was a really neat contemporary look for this kitchen. Subway tile doesn't have to come in white. There are other colors, as the example shows in the middle. This was a matte taupe color for that bathroom. And then a new shape that has become more popular is the picket design that you see in that shower. And then another one is the League. Has become very popular. You've probably seen a lot of examples of this in kitchens and bathrooms. That's all one color, and it's supposed to have that high variation. And this one even had a little bit of a print on it. So each tile is unique, and it was just such a beautiful color for that bathroom. And then you can see an example in the middle of an inlay where you have an arabesque along with the subway tile and doing that inlay above the range. And then on the right is an example of a handmade tile, subway tile. So that's not just a plain flat tile, it actually has different levels to it. And so that's what gives it that handmade quality, hand glazed look. And then another example of a ceramic tile is terracotta tiles. So we took these when we were at International Materials, and a lot of these are painted over the terracotta. So below that is either an orange or a white base layer. So when it chips, you will see that under color, and it won't be that painted finish all the way through it. Mosaics, and there's so many options, so many colors, and so many different materials that these are that they come in. A lot of them are attached to a mesh or a paperback mosaic, And the small pieces are different colors and materials, and they make different designs, which you could see is either the Greek key or the hexagon shapes, or those laser water jet mosaics were really cool. And they are great for applications on walls for backsplashes and bathroom floors. Here's an example of some mosaic tiles that we've used in some of our kitchens. The one on the left is more of a floral pattern. It's very random, and they have different colors. And this is called Foliage Bebop White Mosaic. So it kind of looks like leaves all over.
Almost
And
looks
then,
like wallpaper, doesn't it?
it does kind of look like wallpaper.
It's so cool.
Yes. So that's one thing when you're looking at a mosaic and maybe you're only seeing it in a little piece, it's good to try to find a larger format application to see, do I like that all over, or would I prefer to only have this in a small amount? So in the kitchen on the right side, we incorporated that framework tile, and we just did that only in that little area where they were going to have their coffee. And we did something completely different on the other side and just let that be its own statement. And then some other mosaics, it's maybe a little bit hard to see, but it's kind of a teardrop wave pattern of the Carrara marble there on the left. And then in the middle, we have another marble mosaic from Jeffrey Court. And then on the right is another example of a marble mosaic by Walker Zanger. So many different styles.
Shapes. Yeah, it's amazing because I guess all of these are, like you said, a Carrara or a marble look, but they all look so different.
And sometimes it's a mixture of two different marbles together. So you have that white and then the Carrara. So on the pattern on the right, you really see that definition. And then some of these are an example of the water jet, like on the left side. So these are cut out with a water jet machine, and then they have the brass inlays. And these were some of the ones that we saw when we were at International Materials. And so that is really cool to have that metal mixed with the natural stone. It's really cool.
It's a very rich look, like just gorgeous. And like the one on the right, it's a little mid-century, and I love that.
Yeah, beautiful. Glass tiles. Glass tiles offer beautiful color with translucent. A lot of times you see these in contemporary designs with the light reflection. They can come in gloss and matte as well. They're easy to clean, they're stain resistant, and zero water absorption. But they're not good for high traffic areas on a floor because they can be easily chipped. And it needs to be professionally installed. When you cut through a glass tile, that color, some of them, the color is all the way through the glass, but some of them, the color is only on the back. It's either been painted on or it's a paper that's on the back. And when you cut through that, if you're not using the proper saw, it can rip away that color. And then when you grout it, the grout gets behind it and just looks terrible. So you have to make sure that your installer knows what they're doing in installing a glass tile. Here's some examples of glass. On the left, that's actually a mirrored, beveled mirror tile. And so you could see a reflection in it, and it was in kind of a bronzy color. And it was just a beautiful little statement for their bar. And then in the middle is an example of a colored blue glass tile and more of a modern style kitchen. And then on the right, this was a matte glass in that geometric print. And we highlighted that by choosing a lighter grout so that you really saw the tile pattern. These are also glass. If you are looking for pink or green or blue, there's going to be so many options for you in what you're wanting to pick. The ones in the middle these were made from recycled glass, but they look like marble and they can be used on the floor. We were just blown away.
Blown away.
Like, this
Nina and I both.
so cool. Gotta put this in here. These would be so awesome in a shower or in a bathroom. I am looking for a project to use these on, so excited. And then an example of different solid colors in those hexagons, but then they've used them to make a pattern, which is really cool. Marble, it's a natural elegant stone with texture, depth, and veining, and every piece is different and unique because it is natural. It's coming out of the earth. You're not going to have one piece that's the same as another. It's a little bit more of a costly option, and it requires a lot of upkeep due to porosity. So you have to seal over marble and other natural stones so that they don't stain, or they have more stain resistance. And also when using them in bathrooms, you have to be careful with what you clean natural stones with, because it can create a chemical reaction with the stone.
I told Nina that that herringbone one you're seeing, I need to figure out how I can install that in my home. I found that one. I need to have it used somewhere.
It is so pretty. And that's another example of water jet.
What's the other material in there, Nina? Because it's not all marble, is it?
It looks like wood, but that would be an example of a porcelain and a marble mixed together.
Okay, so it stays durable, because if it was wood, obviously it wouldn't be as durable.
Right, right. But those were beautiful. Here's some other examples of how marble can be used. Kitchen backsplash, again, got that picket design. And then we had installed a smaller mosaic in a laundry room. And that was really fun to have. And then on the far right, you see an example of a like a larger format subway used on the walls in the shower. And then in the same color, they used that smaller herringbone on the shower floor, which we had talked about a little bit earlier. Using the smaller mosaics in a shower helps with the slip resistance.
And I love that you're able to match them too. It's like you get two different looks, but they go together so well then.
Cement tiles. So these have become a lot more popular in the last few years as well, but they've been around since the 19th century, and they're very versatile and offer a lot of different patterns and colors. A lot of times you can even customize these with where you purchase them from with your own colors, and they'll make them for you. They are porous and they can wear down in high traffic areas. The color might start to fade out in different areas where you're walking. So you kind of have to know and expect that it's not going to look like the day that it was installed. So you have to be open to that natural aging if you want this on your floor. It also can chip, so you have to factor in a lot of breakage from when the tile is shipped to you. Not all tile comes in and is, you know, all perfect in the box. So sometimes you'll have waste that's just there because it got broken in the box. And you also have to reseal this as well if you're, you know, trying to keep up with not having it wear down quickly. So here is an example of two different applications. The wall that we did in that kitchen, we just used those for that inlay above the range. This is an example of how much of that pattern do you want to see, how far do you want it to go. And so we had given them a couple different examples of that elevation using even a smaller window or going that full width. And they decided to do that full width back behind there. And that really incorporated our two colors that we had for them of that navy island. And then she used yellow accent everywhere around in the kitchen. And it was just the perfect jumping off point for that kitchen. And then the middle project was, the inspiration was wallpaper, and the client came to us and said, I really want to do a checkerboard pattern on my floor. Is that crazy? Like, do you think that's going to look good? And I was like, go for it. It's going to be so cool. So after trying to find some tile that coordinated with that wallpaper, we ended up with the cement tile and did that in that checkerboard pattern. And I absolutely love it. It's so cool. And then another example you see there is on that back vanity wall, where we used a pattern tile just to bring a little bit, it looks like wallpaper, but it's tile.
Well, and I think you spoke to this a minute ago. That one was totally custom made at a tile shop because they wanted that specific color. So like you mentioned, that's that way. I think that's what happened in that one too.
Yeah. So more natural stones, travertine and limestone, they're very similar. And some of them are even available in a tumbled finish, so that will give you more of a rustic look. They come in a lot of different colors, earth tone colors, but they're prone to being able to stain because of the porosity, and so you have to seal these stones. So examples of limestone, the picture on the left is a full limestone bathroom. So the mosaic on the floor and also the walls in that bathroom are all out of limestone. And then it also can be used for exteriors, so that split face look on the outside. When we redid the interior of this home, they had this weird bump out. And so Ron designed this, and we just cleaned up the front facade and added that little accent of limestone. It really made a big impact on that house. And then another example are pavers for outside. So patio area, doing that with limestone pavers is a great application. And then examples of travertine. So we have on the left more of a craftsman style, and so we chose the travertine subway tile. And then above their range, we actually have some small copper inlay tiles that the owner had hand selected, and so we implemented that into the design. And then on the right, you see a little bit more of a rustic kind of farmhouse Tuscan kitchen. And there they also use that travertine on the backsplash with a painted ceramic inlay above the cooktop. And there's so many different patterns that you can install your tiles in. It can just get to be overwhelming, but if you're looking for something unique or a way to make a more just plain white subway tile, how can we make this look different? Maybe think about using it in a different pattern. And that's a way to make it more interesting than just the typical subway installation. So there on the left, subway tile in a kitchen, white subway tile. You can use gray grout, you can use white grout with it. In the bathroom in the middle, we actually chose to do a stack bond, and everything is lined up. So it's a little bit more of a contemporary look. And then on the right is more of a basket weave. So you stack two of them and then change if it's vertical or horizontal. Herringbone. So this is, you have to also keep in mind that your tile installer will charge more based on the difficulty of the pattern. And also a herringbone tile is going to have more waste, more cuts, and so you'll have to buy more tile in order to achieve that look. But it's so cool to see it in a large format. And then on the right, you have a stacked subway. So now the tiles are vertical and done in that brick lay pattern. And another example of a vertical subway tile, these were done with a 4x12. And I have to say that the guys who installed this, it was not easy because your ceiling is not completely level. And then the corner was also not completely level. And they did an amazing job, because if you have a good installer, they can make it look like there's nothing wrong. But if you use maybe a different installer that doesn't know how to adjust for those changes in the wall, then that's when you get that wavy look, and it just draws attention to the fact that the ceiling isn't level. And that was just an amazing outcome that they had to do with that. I was very impressed. And then on the right is an example of just turning it on and doing it on point almost. And that creates so much movement and a completely different look for that bathroom.
It's an art form, isn't it? To be able to lay tile. Like, it's something I guess I've never put a lot of thought into. You just take it for granted that tile looks great, but it's an art form to get it laid that way, as you were saying with that bathroom on the left.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful for Amy Sanders at International Materials of Design, as well as Christine at Sunderland. They were so wonderful to be able to share their expertise with us just in the different areas of the porcelain and the ceramics and the mosaics. It was just really wonderful to learn from them and to see their showrooms.